Okay, before I start, I need you to imagine something. It's 2:47 in the morning. Your room is dark. The only light is coming from your phone screen. And suddenly, you get a message from someone who died a year ago. Not from their old account. Not from a fake profile. From their actual number. And the message says, "I know you're awake." That's exactly what happened to me. And I swear, everything I'm about to tell you is exactly how it happened. About a year ago, my best friend Mark died in a car accident. It happened late at night on a highway outside our city. The police said the road was wet, his car spun out, and he crashed into a guardrail. Just like that, he was gone. We had known each other since middle school. We played games together, skipped classes together, basically did everything together. So when he died, it messed me up pretty badly. For months, I still had his number saved in my phone. I couldn't bring myself to delete it. Sometimes I would scroll through our old messages, stupid memes, late-night conversations, plans we never got to do. Eventually, life started feeling normal again. Or at least, normal enough. Until last Thursday. That night I couldn't sleep. It was around 2:40 a.m., and I was just lying in bed scrolling through random videos on my phone. My room was completely quiet. No TV. No music. Just the sound of the wind outside my window. Then suddenly, my phone vibrated. Just once. At first I didn't even look at it. I thought it was probably some useless notification. But then it vibrated again. And again. So I picked it up. It was a text message. And when I saw the name at the top of the screen, my stomach dropped. The message was from Mark. Not his old social media account. Not some group chat. His actual phone number. For a second, I just stared at the screen. My brain was trying to figure out some logical explanation. Maybe his parents reactivated the number. Maybe someone else has it now. Maybe it's just a weird glitch. But then I opened the message. It was only 4 words. "I know you're awake." I felt this cold chill run down my back. Because the thing is, I hadn't posted anything. I hadn't messaged anyone. No one should have known I was awake. I sat there staring at the screen for almost a full minute. Then suddenly, another message appeared. 3 dots started typing. And what came next made my heart start beating way faster. The next message said, "Don't look behind you." For a few seconds, I just froze. My eyes were locked on the screen. "Don't look behind you." My brain instantly started trying to explain it. Maybe someone got Mark's old number and was messing with me. Maybe one of my friends thought it would be funny to scare me. But even if that was true, how would they know I was awake? And why send that message at almost 3 in the morning? I felt this weird pressure in my chest as I slowly lowered the phone. The room around me suddenly felt different. Too quiet. I could hear the wind hitting the side of my house. The soft ticking of the clock on my wall. And for the first time that night, I became very aware of something. The fact that my bedroom door was open. Just slightly. I always slept with it closed. Always. But now it was open just enough to see the dark hallway outside. I swallowed and looked back down at my phone. My hands were shaking a little. The message was still there. "Don't look behind you," I typed a reply. Who is this? For a moment, nothing happened. Then the typing dots appeared again. 3 small dots. Typing. Stopping. Typing again. It felt like it lasted forever. Finally, the new message appeared. "You really shouldn't turn around." A chill ran through my whole body. My brain kept telling me this was just a prank. But something deep inside me was screaming that it wasn't. And then, I heard something. A sound coming from the hallway. A slow creak. Like someone shifting their weight on the wooden floor. I stopped breathing. The hallway outside my room was completely dark. But I could still see the outline of the door frame. And for a split second, I thought I saw something move. I grabbed my phone tighter. My heart was pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. Then my phone vibrated again. Another message. I looked down. You looked, didn't you? My stomach twisted. I typed back immediately. Mark is dead. This isn't funny. For a few seconds there was no response. Just silence. Then the typing dots appeared again. And the next message made my blood run cold. I'm not in the hallway. I felt my entire body go numb. Because if he wasn't in the hallway, then where was he? My phone vibrated again before I could even think. Another message. I'm closer than that. And at that exact moment, I heard something move right behind my bed. Ghost. The sound behind my bed was small. So small that if the room wasn't completely silent, I probably wouldn't have noticed it. But I did. It sounded like something lightly brushing against the wall. My entire body locked up. I was sitting on my bed with my back against the headboard, my phone still in my hands. The screen was the only light in the room. And suddenly it felt like that light wasn't enough anymore. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to breathe. My brain kept repeating the same thing over and over. Don't look behind you. My phone vibrated again. The sound made me flinch so hard, I almost dropped it. Another message from Mark. I slowly looked down at the screen. You heard that, didn't you? My fingers felt numb as I typed back. What do you want? The typing dots appeared instantly. Like whoever was texting me was watching the screen. Watching me. Then the next message came. I told you not to look. My throat felt dry. I didn't look. For a few seconds there was no reply. Then my phone vibrated again. Good. I swallowed. My eyes slowly drifted toward the edge of the bed, toward the dark space behind me. My heart was beating so hard it felt painful. And that's when something horrible crossed my mind. If someone was behind my bed, there was only one way they could have gotten there. They would have had to enter my room. But I never heard the door open. I forced myself to look toward the doorway again. The hallway was still dark. Still empty. Then my phone vibrated again. Another message. You're trying to figure it out. I typed quickly. This isn't funny. If someone is in my house, I'm calling the police. 3 dots appeared again. Typing. Stopping. Typing again. Finally, the message came through. You already let me in. A cold wave ran through my chest. What does that mean? For almost a full minute, there was no response. I started thinking maybe it was finally over. Maybe whoever was doing this got bored. Maybe. My phone vibrated again. But this time the message was different. It wasn't text. It was a picture. My hands started shaking as I opened it. At first the image looked completely dark. Just black. Then my eyes slowly adjusted. And I realized what I was looking at. It was my room. The photo had clearly been taken from inside my room. From the corner near the wall. Right behind my bed. And in the photo, you could see me sitting there, holding my phone, looking at the screen. Which meant only one thing. When that photo was taken, whoever sent it was standing less than 3 feet behind me. Ghost. I just stared at the picture on my phone, my room, my bed, me sitting there. And the angle of the photo made it painfully clear where it had been taken from. Right behind me. My heart started pounding so hard it felt like it was shaking my entire body. Slowly, very slowly, I lifted my eyes away from the screen. I didn't turn around. Not yet. I just listened. The room was completely silent. Too silent. Then my phone vibrated again. Another message. My hands were shaking so badly I almost couldn't open it. You're doing a good job not turning around. My chest felt tight. I typed back with trembling fingers. Who is this? Almost immediately the typing dots appeared. Then the reply came. You already know. My stomach twisted. Mark is dead. This time there was a longer pause before the next message came through. When it did, I felt a cold wave run through my entire body. Yeah. Just that one word. Yeah. My eyes slowly drifted toward the dark wall in front of me. I could feel it now. That horrible feeling you get when you know someone is watching you. The air behind me felt heavy, like the room wasn't empty anymore. My phone vibrated again. You're wondering how I'm texting you. I didn't reply. Another message appeared. You went to my funeral. My throat tightened. I remembered it clearly. The rain. The black umbrellas. Mark's parents crying. The closed casket. I typed slowly. This isn't him? The typing dots appeared again. Then another message came through. You're right. My stomach dropped. Before I could even react, another message appeared. It's not Mark. The room suddenly felt colder. My fingers hovered over the screen. Then who is this? For a few seconds there was no reply. Then my phone vibrated. I'm the thing that was in the car with him. The words made my blood run cold. My mind instantly pictured the crash. The empty highway. Mark alone in the car. At least that's what everyone said. My phone vibrated again. He wasn't alone when he died. A chill crawled up my spine. I didn't want to ask the next question. But somehow my fingers typed it anyway. What do you mean? The typing dots appeared again. And they stayed there for several seconds. Finally the message appeared. Turn around. My heart skipped a beat. Another message came instantly after it. My eyes stayed locked on the message. Turn around. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat. Every instinct in my body was screaming, don't do it. The thing was, if someone was actually behind me, I should have heard them breathing, moving, something. But there was nothing. Just silence. My phone vibrated again. Another message. You're scared. I swallowed. My fingers slowly typed a reply. If someone is in my house, I'm calling the police. 3 dots appeared. Typing. Then the next message popped up. They won't get here in time. A cold wave ran through my chest. Before I could even respond, another message appeared. Relax. And then one more. I'm not behind you anymore. My entire body froze. I slowly lifted my eyes from the phone and stared straight ahead at the wall. Not behind me. Just forward. My mind was racing. If it wasn't behind me anymore, then where did it go? My phone vibrated again. You can turn around now. My throat felt dry. For a long moment I just sat there, listening. Nothing. No movement. No breathing. Finally, slowly, I turned my head. First toward the left, then the right. Then I forced myself to look behind the bed. There was nothing there. Just the wall. The corner of my room. And the shadow from my desk chair. I let out a shaky breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Maybe this really was some sick prank. Maybe someone hacked Mark's number. Maybe I was just freaking myself out. Then my phone vibrated again. I looked down. See? I rubbed my face with one hand. This isn't funny. A few seconds passed. Then the typing dots appeared again. Look at your door. Slowly, I lifted my head. My bedroom door was still slightly open. The dark hallway outside looked exactly the same as before. Empty. Quiet. My phone vibrated again. Closer. I frowned. What? Another message appeared. Go close the door. I stared at the screen. Why? The typing dots appeared. Then stopped. Then appeared again. Finally, the message came through. Because it's standing in the hallway. My heart instantly started racing again. I slowly looked back at the door. The hallway was still dark. Still empty. At least that's what it looked like. My phone vibrated again. You can't see it from your bed. My fingers felt cold. Another message appeared. I kept staring at my bedroom door. The hallway outside was completely dark. At least that's what it looked like. But after reading that message, my eyes started playing tricks on me. Every shadow looked like it was moving. Every shape looked like it might be something standing there. My phone vibrated again. Still there. My chest tightened. Stop, I typed quickly. Whoever this is, just stop. For a few seconds, there was no reply. Then the typing dots appeared again. You don't believe me. Another message came right after. That's okay. Then another vibration. Turn your phone camera on. I frowned. Why? The reply came instantly. Pointed at the hallway. My hands felt cold. No. 3 dots appeared again. Typing. If I'm lying, you'll see nothing. That made my stomach twist. Because part of me suddenly wanted to check. Wanted proof. Wanted to prove this was all fake. I slowly opened my phone's camera. My heart was beating so loud I could hear it. The screen showed my room first. My bed. My desk. The wall. Nothing strange. Then slowly, I turned the phone toward the door. The camera pointed at the dark hallway. For a moment, I saw nothing. Just darkness. Then my phone vibrated. Another message. Zoom in. My hands were shaking now. But I pinched the screen and zoomed the camera in toward the hallway. The image got grainy. Dark. Blurry. And then something appeared on the screen. At first I thought it was just the shadow of the wall. But then it moved. Just slightly. My breathing stopped. There was a shape standing in the hallway. Tall. Too tall. And thin. But the weirdest part was this. I couldn't see it with my eyes. Only through the phone camera. My chest tightened. My phone vibrated again. Now you see it. My fingers felt numb. I slowly typed back. What is that? The typing dots appeared. They stayed there for several seconds. Finally, the reply came. That's what followed Mark home that night. My heart started racing again. What do you mean, followed him? Another vibration. He saw it on the road. My mind instantly pictured the crash again. The empty highway. The rain. My phone vibrated again. He stopped the car. Another message appeared right after. And he shouldn't have done that. I stared at the camera screen again. The tall shape in the hallway moved slightly closer. My heart almost stopped. I quickly typed, "Why is it here?" The reply came instantly. "Because you answered my messages." I felt a cold wave rush through my entire body. Another message appeared. For a few seconds I couldn't move. I just stared at the phone screen. The camera was still pointed at the hallway, and that tall shape was still there, barely visible in the darkness. But the worst part was knowing one thing. I couldn't see it with my own eyes. Only through the camera. My phone vibrated again. Don't panic. My fingers tightened around the phone. How am I supposed to not panic? I typed. 3 dots appeared. Because it hasn't noticed you yet. My stomach dropped. Yet? The reply came almost instantly. It mostly follows sound. My chest felt tight as I slowly looked around my room. The place suddenly felt smaller. Every tiny noise suddenly seemed dangerous. My phone buzzed again. When Mark saw it, he got out of the car. Another message followed. He thought someone was standing on the road. My heart started racing again. That made horrible sense. A dark road. Rain. A tall figure in the distance. Anyone would stop. Anyone would check. Another message appeared. But when he got closer, the typing dots paused. Then the next message arrived. It stood up. A cold chill ran down my spine. I looked back at the camera screen again. The figure in the hallway seemed taller now. Or maybe it was just closer. I couldn't tell. My phone vibrated again. Don't make any loud noises. Right after that, another message appeared. And whatever you do, the typing dots stopped. Then the final message appeared. Don't let it hear your voice. At that exact moment, my bed creaked. Just slightly. My heart jumped into my throat. The sound had come from underneath me. I slowly lifted the phone. The camera was still pointing at the hallway. The tall figure hadn't moved. But then I realized something horrible. If that thing followed sound, then the noise didn't come from the hallway. It came from inside my room. My phone vibrated again. What was that noise? My hands started shaking. I slowly lowered the camera and pointed it toward the side of the bed, then toward the floor, and finally, under the bed. The screen showed darkness at first. Then the camera adjusted to the low light, and I saw something that made my entire body go cold. Two long, pale fingers, slowly gripping the bottom of the mattress. From underneath the bed, my phone vibrated again. A new message appeared. Oh no. Another message came right after. My entire body went completely still. On the phone screen, under my bed, those two pale fingers were still there, gripping the bottom of the mattress. They looked wrong. Too long. Too thin. The skin looked almost gray, like something that hadn't seen light in a very long time. My breathing became slow and shallow. I was terrified that even the sound of my breathing might be too loud. My phone vibrated again in my hand. I didn't want to look, but I forced myself to glance down. Don't move. My fingers tightened around the phone. Another message appeared. It might not know you're there yet. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it might actually hear it. I slowly moved the phone a little closer to the edge of the bed, keeping the camera pointed underneath. The image shook because my hands were trembling. At first, I only saw the fingers. Then slowly, something else moved in the darkness. A shape. Something long and thin crawling slightly forward. My stomach twisted. More of the arm became visible. The arm was far too long to belong to a normal person. It bent at a strange angle, like the bones inside it weren't shaped correctly. My phone vibrated again. Don't let it hear you breathe. I held my breath without even thinking. Another message appeared. Mark screamed when he saw it. My chest tightened. That's when it grabbed him. The words made my skin crawl. I looked back at the camera screen. The fingers suddenly tightened around the mattress. The nails were long, sharp, dirty. Slowly, something began pulling itself closer to the edge of the bed. My hands started shaking even more. My phone vibrated again. If it comes out. The typing dots stopped for a moment. Then the rest of the message appeared. Run. Right as I finished reading that, the fingers suddenly slid forward, and a second hand appeared. Both hands were now gripping the edge of the mattress. Then something moved between them. A head. But it didn't rise up like a normal person would. It tilted sideways first. Slowly. Like the neck was bending the wrong way. My heart almost stopped. Through the phone camera I could see part of a face. Pale skin. No hair. And eyes that were completely black. My phone vibrated again. The message appeared instantly. Don't look at its face. But it was already too late. Because on the screen, those black eyes suddenly looked directly into the camera. My phone buzzed again. One final message appeared. I dropped my phone for a second. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold it again. Through the camera I could still see it. The thing under my bed, its head slowly lifted the rest of its body. Its long, thin arms dragged it forward, sliding across the floor. The thing didn't run, it didn't even walk. It crept, moving in a way that no human should be able to. And the black eyes, the ones that stared directly at me through the camera, they didn't blink. My phone vibrated again. Another message appeared. It can hear you thinking. I froze. I didn't know how that was possible, but I could feel it somehow. It was inside my room. And somehow, it knew I was scared. I slowly tried to move back, inching away from the bed. My phone slipped and fell beside me, but the screen stayed on. The camera still pointed at the bed. The figure had now fully emerged from under the bed. Its body was tall and thin, pale gray, moving almost like a shadow with arms that seemed too long for its body. I could see its head tilt slightly, the black eyes focused entirely on the camera and therefore on me. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. My phone vibrated again. Do not scream! I typed automatically, my hands shaking uncontrollably. Who are you? The typing dots appeared, paused, and finally, I was there that night. I knew immediately what it meant. Mark's accident. The highway. The crash. I watched it happen. Another message came. I couldn't even breathe. I am what followed him home. The figure now slowly raised itself, fully standing. Its long arms hung by its side. Its head tilted slightly, like it was examining me. I typed with shaking fingers. What do you want from me? The typing dots appeared, then disappeared. Then one final message came. I want you to stay awake. At that moment, I realized something horrifying. It didn't want to kill me, not yet. It wanted me to watch. It wanted me to be aware. And in that awareness, it would slowly come closer. My phone vibrated again. I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe. The figure in my room, it was real, not a ghost on the screen, not a prank. Something alive, or at least something that had been alive once. It stood there in the corner, slowly shifting, the long, thin limbs bending at impossible angles. Its black eyes never left the camera, they were locked on me, watching, calculating. My phone vibrated again. I couldn't pick it up, I was frozen. Another message appeared. I'm closer now. I could feel it, even without seeing it directly, a presence. A pressure in the air, like the room had suddenly shrunk. My chest felt tight. Every hair on my body was standing on end. I whispered, barely audible. Mark, please, help me. Nothing. Then another vibration. Another message. He can't help you anymore. It moved closer. I could hear it now. Quiet scraping sounds, like nails dragging against the floor. My eyes were glued to the phone screen, the only thing keeping me sane. Turn around, the message read. I wanted to scream, to run, to do anything. But something deep in my instincts told me that looking at it directly would be worse. I stayed frozen, trembling, watching it through the phone. It stopped. For a moment, nothing. Then it whispered, not through the phone, not in a normal sound, but somehow, I felt it in my mind. I know your fear. I felt tears rolling down my cheeks. My hands were shaking so violently I could barely hold the phone. Another vibration. Another message. Soon, you will see me. At that exact moment, the lights in my room flickered, then went out completely. I was plunged into darkness. The phone screen went black. And in the darkness, I could hear it moving, coming closer. Closer to the bed. Closer to me. Closer. Closer. Then, a whisper. Finally. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The last thing I felt before the darkness consumed me was its cold hand brushing against my shoulder. The phone slipped from my hands, hitting the floor, screen cracking, and the messages stopped. Silence. Absolute silence. Except for one thing, the faint sound of typing. Somewhere. Not on my phone, somewhere behind me. And that's when I realized. It's still here. Watching. Waiting. Did you get chills from this story? If you did, smash that like button, thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. for more terrifying stories every week. Speech Balloon. Comment below and tell me, what would you do if this happened to you? I read every comment